Now, no doubt, Dan, there's logic behind this decision, but at the same point, you've got to wonder if they really thought this one through in terms of the transition. There's nothing new about a Saudi official waking up one morning and realizing that the transition had happened without him even knowing it, for example. It seems as if at least Khalid al Falih perhaps had more warning here than is usual, but at the same point, you've got to wonder if they really thought this through in terms of, this is a man who has a lot of credibility in the international community, particularly after what we saw with the Riyadh Ritz-Carlton, the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. This was a calming voice to the markets, not just when it comes to energy, but also when it comes to governance in Saudi Arabia. So you've got to wonder if this was perhaps the right time for this move, but at the same point, there is logic to it.
Absolutely, and Khalid al Falih has an untold ability to exercise authority and issue commands within OPEC. You're right, he is that calming voice for the global oil markets. He's a recognised face in the West of an otherwise quite secretive regime in Saudi Arabia, and he does have a lot of influence here. Whether or not that influence now wanes, Hadley, as a result of this clipping of the wings really remains to be seen. I don't think so, though. At the same time, I would also contend that there are some out there who are saying that this move is in response to weaker oil prices. I disagree with that as well. Khalid al Falih has been working hard with his colleagues within the OPEC group to keep oil prices stable. This certainly doesn't have much to do with the price, in my opinion. But also very important to point out, as Saudi Aramco looks to become a public company and also face the stress tests of being a publicly listed company in the future, it's going to have some kind of clearer separation of church and state. And I think this is possibly the first step towards actually doing that. In other countries, it would be odd, essentially, to have the energy minister overseeing the national oil company on a pathway to going public. So this perhaps will improve governance and separate the government from the company itself. And perhaps that'll be a welcome move from international investors too.
And really speaks to the fact that they do seem to at least be gaining momentum in terms of getting that Aramco IPO to the market. And I think, as you say there, Dan, at the end of the day, we're talking about a governance issue as well. There have been so many questions, as we know, again and again, about how they were going to separate Aramco from really the governing body in Saudi Arabia, from the Crown Prince. It's a top-down society, as you very well know, and lots of questions from international investors about how they were going to manage to do that with all the transparency that was needed. And of course, that played in as much as anything else to the question of where they're actually going to do these listings. Matt, we're going to hand it back over to you.